spawning. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's just skip the player's introduction here. Apparently,
Yeah, like there's. I think this is just a Reaper proxy, like just a classic single, maybe 2 Reaper proxy. And Byun has been doing a good job at keeping his SCV alive, but yeah, I don't think this is anything too crazy.
all right, nice little hiding spot for that SCV.
Yeah, it was kind of hilarious because that SCV just kind of hid there for the whole duration of the barracks build-up, since Zoun found out basically immediately about this proxy. So yeah, like Byun played this really good. Like there was some really difficult stuff to keep that SCV over there. Just keep on canceling the building until the SCV was just locked there, and yeah, for a single Reaper as well. That's some dedication, I guess.
Alright, nicely done. Oh, actually, erased it around there. So, all in all, 1 Reaper for 1 probe. Not too shabby.
Not exactly what Byun was hoping for. He's gonna go ahead and get his second command center himself. It does feel like Zoun is a little bit faster on his tech build-up, but yeah, that's the nature of Protoss. So we're gonna see some Blink Stalkers, we're gonna see some delayed push from Byun, and I think we're up to a very, very standard PvT. Widowmine drops is, of course, going to be the call incoming from Byun. You kind of need those. You kind of need to put a little bit of pressure. You kind of need those to just try and get some scouting information, most of all. But I don't think there's too much to scout so far. Better safe than sorry, of course. But yeah, I think Byun is gonna be super confident about what is about to come, and he's just gonna be Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, looks like Zoun. Also, kind of similar to Astrea. Gonna go for more of a Blink kind of army composition to start the game a bit more often. Could definitely see him going for something like a Stargate opening, maybe even a DT opening. But of course, that kind of has fallen out of favor these days. But look at here, we kind of have ourselves a Widowmine drop. Let's see how much damage this can get done, but looks like Zoun's on top of it.
Yeah, definitely expecting this. Being super careful about his probes, having the Stalkers in between the 2 bases, ready to move at any red notice on the map. And yeah, like this was a very clean defense coming from Zoun. Byun got the information he wanted. He knows this is Blink Stalkers. He's probably gonna add up a bunker in front of his natural, I think. Oh, he's already got a tank. Gonna add a second tank as well. So yeah, maybe doesn't even need the bunker. It's a little bit risky, but I've seen people skipping it. Okay, he's gonna add it. Like that, it's by far the best decision he can make, honestly. So yeah, again, better safe than sorry. Both players are just trying to be as safe as possible. We see the Widowmine's just not getting much right now.
Yeah, I think because I believe that the Widowmine was at third base, and so he kind of saw that Zoun didn't have a third base, and he was like, okay, something's fishy here. Like, you're still on 2 base. This might be something coming, some aggression. So I think that kind of forced his decision to go for the bunker, even though he did have the tank.
Yeah. So I'm playing this very aggressively with a Warp Prism and ready to also jump into the main and maybe add something in the natural. So because getting the main, they're targeting supply deep, but it's not much. They're gonna be found out by the tank, and there's really no way past that. As well as for the bunker, getting 1 SCB is basically the most these 4 Stalkers could do. Again, both players' defense has been kind of flawless so far, but we have yet to see the big guns.
All right, I'm loving this decision by Zoun to go for that Templar Archive. Because he knows that Byun is going for more of a kind of a tank marine kind of army composition, even adding some marauders. So if Byun goes for a big timing attack, he's going to have the storm there to help hold on and defend against that push. Because you need some sort of splash damage for that, or either splash damage or like a huge number of gateways to warp in a bunch of units.
Yeah, I don't really see that in the style of Zoun. More like having a couple key units and defending those. That's more in Zoun style. And I like the follow-up of the Blinkstalkers. Just straight into Templar Archives, getting charged, getting Storm at the same time. And just making sure these Stalkers can delay the push as much as possible. Byun's army is not at its peak. He's gonna have +1, he's not gonna have combat armor, he's just gonna have combat shields, stim pack, and concussive shells. Not a lot of marauders with this. It does feel like just a couple well-placed storms can do the trick. It's all about micro now, right now. They're gonna find their hiding spot between the ramp and the big pillar. Shield Body Overcharge gets activated, the War Prism gets some Templars forward, the storm is perfect. Oh, the Bio army of Byun needs to retreat, the Charge Lot's still alive, and that's a big problem for a Bio army that tries to cut backwards. Stalkers blinking forward, blinking backwards, just staying alive and shooing away the Terran army. This has been very pricey for Byun. Zoun is gonna have his Archon in the main field. Gonna try to work around these Widow Mines. Gonna do that flawlessly. The army of Byun is incredibly bruised. One single Archon can do some very nasty damage on top of all of that. And it does also feel like Zoun maybe is overstepping a little bit. The guy backwards from Byun just killed a lot of army from Zoun, and I don't know if the Protoss can move forward right now.
Yeah, I think it's okay if he doesn't, because right now there's no dirt CC. Oh, actually, as I scroll to the right side, Byun does have dirt CC, but it's not established yet. So essentially, he's on 2 base economy. Zoun, he's on 3 base economy. In fact, he could probably even throw down the 4th right now, but looks like Zoun, with that, the threat of that storm, will be able to potentially just finish the game here. It's going to be a really awkward place for Byun to fight in. He might just need to just go for it, pull the SCVs, lift off that CC, and just go for it.
That single ghost might have saved the day for Byun. Just one well-placed EMP, without even shockwave upgrade, just absolutely destroyed the army of Zoun. Zoun just instantly decided to make a sentry, and as soon as that sentry was made, Byun just, boom, snapped that EMP, and the sentry couldn't stop the reinforcements from Byun to come into business. Very good defensive play from Byun, but again, I do agree that Zoun just kind of overstepped there. I didn't really see a way for him to close out the game. I don't think he could have closed the game, and it did feel like he was in a decent spot. But right now, Byun has the production, Byun has Shockwave EMP in progress. This is not a good spot for Zoun all of a sudden. Good storm though to start out the fight. The first Widow Mine is gonna get nothing, but the second gets the Warp Prism. And that's not very good news for Zoun again. The only 2 Archons are definitely not enough to put up with the whole army of Byun. He's a little bit of a zealot run by, will not get much. Concussive Shells Marauders will stop so many units on their tracks. Shield Barrier Overcharge gets popped to try and keep these Archons alive, but the EMPs are just too much. Storms getting on top of the army of Byun, actually very good storms But again, the EMP make these Archons completely useless, and Immortals cannot do much more. Zealous trying to do their best, both players on such low army compositions. The Ghosts will barely survive, and Byun will take a decent fight, I guess. Like, he killed a lot of key units, killed a lot of Archons, a lot of Immortals, and I don't really see a way for Zoun to come back into this. He needs Disruptors, but he only now starts his Robotics Bay. This is a terrible spot for the Protoss player.
Yeah, I agree. A very efficient trade there by Byun. And, the only reason why Byun was forced back was he ran out of energy on those medevacs. So, but man, I was thinking like if Zoun had like a couple of stalkers, he could have actually chased down those injured medevacs. There were so many of them in red light, but now Byun able to repair them, and they're back in action.
The armory just now completing. Byun will soon start +2/+2. Here it comes. You can see it start right now. And that's gonna be a big factor in this first game of the series if it goes the distance. Because the upgrade lead in this particular matchup can be extremely deadly, especially if it's in favor of the Terran. One photon cannon will not do wonders in delaying this push. Shield by the overcharge will instead be much better. The storms are very well placed, but it doesn't really feel like Zoun has many more to work with. Byun has been pushed back for the time being, but how many times can Zoun do this? The other run will not really get much. There's a couple SCVs. Sensor tower was there to spot them, and Byun is licking his wounds before preparing for another push.
Alright, more and more Colossus being added into the fray. This is going to add in a third option for splash damage, which is pretty nice for Zoun.
Especially since EMP is such a deadly factor right now in the hands of Byun.
Yeah, for sure. The problem is that the Colossus don't have thermal lance right now, so it's going to be a little bit short on the range, which means that it's going to be a bit easier for Byun to stim and get on top of those Colossus. But I think the disruptors will be able to provide, some sort of defense for that. Make sure that the bio units doesn't get on top of the Colossus totally.
Again, Byun and Zoun just trading blows right now, with the Zealot run by getting over here at the fur base of the Terran player and getting 6 SCVs, not too shabby. While Byun on the other side of the map trying to take out some key units. Stopped again on his tracks, but just a well-placed storm. It's time for the Disruption Novas right now though. As you said, Extended Thermal Lance is not done, 10 seconds to go. Zoun needs to buy a little bit of time, the Colossi get in position, only to be shooed away by the Vikings. Here it comes, Extended Thermal Lance is finished, the fight can finally begin. But EMP just stopping these Archons before they can ever get into the fight. And none of them will fire a single shot, and 2 of them will actually fall. Last free ground weapons is gonna be started by Zoun. Both players just kind of posturing around each other. It does look like the game is going the distance. Both players overstepping once each, it feels. Ground Armor 2 is gonna make the upgrades even right now. Not for long, but still even. And now Byun is gonna move in for another push. Beautiful EMP is gonna get the whole army.
Yeah, that was pretty sick EMP. And Byun gonna once again catch Zoun here, as he does kill off that 9 o'clock base and does force it back into a 4 base versus 4 base situation, although Byun does have his 5th CC about to finish.
His little platoon of Byun is gonna get cashed after sniping the base. It does feel like Zoun is yeah, okay. Yeah, he was moving right into a trap. Decided to move out of that. for very good reasons. And he's gonna also start out the Nexus again. He kind of need that, so he needs to be prepared. He's gonna move a big chunk of his army in position to defend against that. But Byun has a little bit of tempo advantage in this. He's gonna try to use it to push on top of the main army. The two main armies clashing, actually. Purification Novas are not gonna eat anything. One of the Disruptors going down. EMP's on cooldown. Alright, the Archons will not get too close. And yeah, like right now, Byun snapping the Nexus yet again. Ground Weapon 3 is about to be finished, but Zoun is struggling a lot with keeping his army where he needs it. The army of Byun will move forward over here on the right side. They're gonna snipe one Disruptor, but they'll move a little bit too far. While on the other side, the army of Zoun is just making very short work of what it's left. A big victory for Zoun in this stage of the game, even though he lost a Disruptor for it. He's gonna be plenty happy about this trade so far. So many Disruption Nova at once. Oof. That was a slaughter.
Indeed. Looks like Zoun has finally stabilized and now potentially going for that counter as he sends his army towards right into the natural. Talk about open door policy here. And that's going to force Byun to evacuate his SCVs.
Yeah, and it doesn't really feel like Byun has the firepower to go against this. Liberators are gonna pop out right now, but there's quite a lot of Clean Stalkers. Liberators very good against Disruptors. Doesn't really look like the Novas can get too close to where they need to be. But yeah, like Infantry Armor 3 denied, and all the utmost bases of Byun are in real big danger right now.
Keep in mind that half of Byun's army is out in the Protoss side of the map here.
Ooh, those two storms. Oh. Yeah, Byun is biting back actually. Like, this base is going down. 2 Templars have died as well. The probe is trying to hide on the right side. Good decision, closer to the army. It feels like Zoun is gonna just probably move back home. He has a lot of Zealots to buy himself some time. Another storm, another dead Templar. A little bit of a recall on a little bit of less of the army back home to make sure there's no more losses. And it's 5 probes and a Nexus against 37 and 3 command centers. You know the drill. Zoun is in an incredible position, but yeah, these big fights in the open against the concave of Ghosts, Marauders and Marines are just not exactly the bread and butter. He's still gonna get on top of this. He has so many Disruptors. There's really no way to counter this army right now. Not on the ground, at least.
Yeah, this is just basically just pure bow units. No Vikings for the Colossus, no EMPs for the rest of the army of the Protoss. It's gonna be a really difficult battle if he decides to go for like a one-on-one fight. Right now, his best bet is just to go for the basins instead, because this is a huge map. I mean, it's gonna be hard for Zoun to just allocate all his units to the correct places to defend. Although with the observers, I think that will help him, at least just to keep an eye out where Byun's army is at.
Byun is doing a decent job at stopping these Novas from ever eating on top of his army. But how long can he do that? Oh, these storms though, yeah, like oh my goodness.
Oh, you're gonna get out with the warping them too?
Oh my. That was some nasty stuff. Oof. This is a psychological warfare at this stage. Yeah, like I was about to say, I don't really think that Byun wants to play this game anymore. And it does feel like he felt the same. Zoun will take game number 1 of the series.
Spawning at the top right, we got our blue Protoss for the team of ITaX. Give it up for Zoun.
His opponent in the top left-hand corner instead. Spawning as the Red Terran, playing for Shopify Rebellion. We call him Micro Jackson, but his name is Byun. Well, talking about proxies. Huh. I didn't look if this was a pylon pattern gateway. Was this a max specs?
Might be. Certainly looks so, but either way, Byun is not going to be able to see this coming, as he does not send an early SCV scout. And in fact, he is sending the early SCV to the pocket base as he throws down the CC. Oh no, this might actually be a quick 2-0 here for Zoun.
Yeah, this looks like a very nasty opener. We see
Oh no.
Reaper.
Yeah, he's adding a reactor into the barracks, so he's not gonna have any army production in the next couple of seconds, which does not bode well for him at all.
Absolutely not. I would love to see actually Zoun mine out, these patches. Since I feel like, oh no, okay. It's out of vision for Byun, so Zoun had a little bit of a shot to send out, like, I think you need like a lot of probes to do that. But if you're committed, you can do that. Like right now, the pocket base is in the pocket base. The natural is in the pocket base. So Zoun is not gonna have an easy time getting past these supply depots, because the Marines will spawn out, and the SCVs will get into business as soon as those spawn out. Here comes the Reaper as well for defense. Of course, he's not gonna do much. Actually, supply depot is about to go down. The repairs might have come in a little bit too late, or maybe not. I don't know why Zoun didn't decide to commit on killing that. But yeah, so far, it does look like 6 SCVs are gonna fall down, a couple Marines. It's overall a pretty decent trade for Zoun. It's not really being delayed in any shape or form. The supply depot is gonna go down. The final Stalker is gonna just stroll back home. And yeah, Zoun is natural, up and active. And he has a Twilight Council halfway through. This has not slowed down Zoun in any shape or form. Killing 6 SCVs in the early game is a big deal. It might not be a big deal like after 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. I lose 6 SCVs out of 60. Yeah, that's not a problem. Losing 6 SCVs out of 26, that is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, especially this early in the game, and you know what? What's this to say Zoun just doesn't take the, or just goes for the gold base there? I mean, what is Byun gonna be able to do in order to stop it, right? He's so far behind. He's behind the, in the economy as well as the tech. Well, actually, you know what? He's not as far behind on the tech. It looks like he does get the starport with the tech lab, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Zoun just go for the gold base there.
Yeah, that will definitely be a bold call, but not one he cannot support. Like, he has map control, as you were stating, and map control is one of the most important things on this map, honestly, since there's a lot of ground to walk and very little airspace to work with. The only important airspace being the one behind the watchtower, and everything else is just down to ground army terrain. So that means that, like, map control over here is the most important thing maybe we had in any map ever. And taking the golden base with this setup is not a difficult task. The only difficulty is just having an army strong enough to divide between the natural, the third, and the golden, or the natural and the golden if the third is not up there, which can be a difficulty, especially against some medevac play. Zoun was not able to scout in the main base of Byun, so he will decide against it, which is the most careful choice. But I do agree with you that in that spot, maybe risking it wouldn't have been a bad choice. Yeah, this reactor is going down. Yeah, like Zoun is just getting free damage right now. This is absolutely free. Zero commitment as well. And he's also gonna get a pretty decent scout right now. I wonder if he sees the Raven. I think he didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he quite saw it. But he does see
He
a
has
lot.
control of the watchtower though.
Oh, yeah. So he should be able to see if the Raven does try to go for the backdoor auto turret harassment.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get the observer there. So nice little catch. I'm sure, Zoun doesn't want to spend his time remaking observers instead of investing the time to make more Colossus and Disruptors.
All disruptors, yeah. Not with a single robot, that's for sure. Also, you kind of need observers once you have a healthy amount of disruptors, due to how vision is important for disruptors. So he's just gonna delay the moment he makes more observers, like, for sure.
Alright, looks like Zoun going to start transitioning into Archon tech, or maybe just Storm tech, as he does throw down that Templar Archive. In the meantime, we do have a 8 Marine drop here, down to the south side. Goes completely undetected.
I was also gonna check for the golden. Very good call by Byun. This golden has been so contested in so many pro games we've seen so far in this map pool. That is a very good idea to just make sure everything is under control. And yeah, Byun is gonna go ahead and try to get some information with this drop, most of all. Since information is really lacking on his part right now. Like, if you go into Byun's vision, like, you understand that Byun has no clue what is going on in this game. And Byun sees something, the drop happens at the third, which is honestly very much undefended. Might get a couple probes, Shield Battery will buy some time, but in the end, I don't think it will buy enough. Like, the pylon goes down and many more probes are about to fall. On the other side of the map though, beautiful couple of interference matrices will stop the disruptors before they can do too much. 7 SCVs will go down and both players kind of biting each other very hard in the back. 8 probes on one side, 7 SCVs on the other. It did feel like Zoun was a little bit more committed into this than Byun was. Byun was just looking for something, not expecting to deal so much damage. But in the end he did. And right now he's already going to liberate the stack. He has an armory just being finished to start his +2/+2. And honestly, I don't think I dislike Byun's position that much anymore. Zoun was a little bit slow on his tech department. He was just trying to get a little bit of everything right now. And yeah, like, Byun had to make the decision. Do I counter Disruptors or do I counter Archons? He chose Disruptors, he's going into Liberators. But there's not a lot of Archons to work with for Zoun.
You gotta be careful not to overextend. Might be a nice... Nope. Byun gonna be able to kite back his army. And, oh no. Interference matrix on that Colossus, and oh, Zoun, he's running away.
Yeah, that is a terrible position for the Protoss player, all of a sudden picking a couple very bad fights. These Archons are such big threats though. They're both very bruised and they will go backwards, but not after just absolutely melting the bio army that Byun was building up into. 2 Archons just saved the day for Zoun. You've heard it here first, guys. Archons are very good units.
They are indeed, and the problem is Zoun, he has no more Archons left, he has no Disruptors left. He's desperately trying to reproduce them back at home, but this army at the front, knocking on the front door of Byun, not going to be able to really break it with just a handful of Stalkers and with just 1 Colossus.
Yeah, after making it out for the skin of his teeth, he decides to go in again with just Stalkers against a bunch of Marauders. That was definitely not the call for Byun. He was able to keep his Colossus alive, but he lost all Archons, he lost all Disruptors. You kind of need to chill for the time being, it feels. Byun is gonna have map control, yes, there's pretty much nothing you can do unless you want to just straight up lose the game, because the army of Byun is just that much stronger right now. You don't want to fight on the low ground on the ramp though. This Disruptor is gonna get a beautiful shot after the force field, and my god, was I wrong. Byun, what a bad move forward with Zoun, catching you with his pants down. Of course, there's still Liberators, there's still Widow Mines, you cannot get past those, but Byun has been stopped on his tracks, and that is pretty significant. Like, all the map control he was about to get was absolutely delayed just by Zoun putting his foot on the throttle a little bit more than he should have, and coming out on top.
Yeah, this is really bad for Byun. I mean, he was stuck on 3 bases for such a long period of time. Only now being able to establish his 4th base. But, I mean, Zoun was on 4 bases for such a decent period of time, and now he's throwing down his 5th.
Yeah, he didn't really have a lot of workers to work with. Like, he's been at 62 for the majority of the game. But yeah, he was on 4 bases. So he had a steadier income. Like, you can see it in the graphics. The income for minerals has always been in favor of Zoun. Both players trying to keep a careful eye on the army of their opponent. The Observer was killed in the army of Byun. Apparently, I see a missile tower. So yeah, it was definitely killed. While Zoun has been scanned multiple times by Byun while he was moving into a different position. Gonna break down those rocks. Of course, fighting in a choke point is not exactly the best for any of those two armies. So Zoun wants to avoid taking chances in unset shockwaves about to be finished. And that, as you well know, guys, is the biggest spike that Byun is ever gonna have in this matchup.
Alright, looks like things has kind of slowed down for a bit. It's kind of hard for Zoun to commit in, because Byun, with all these sensor towers, going to be able to find, or at least anticipate, where the attack is coming from. I think Zoun wanted to kind of drop into the back door with that War Prism, but with that sensor tower, he's like, I can't right now. So might as well bring it home, or not bring it home, but bring it to his army. Maybe play some High Templars in it with some storms, and then kind of do the storm drop if you wanted to. But right now, it looks like...
Ooh, that's a very good move by Zoun, catching a lot of the army of Byun in the open. The MPs were very good for Byun, but there was nothing to follow it up. And now, going into the main is a small platoon of army. Recall is available, but there's not enough energy in the main nexus, which is... Ooh, ground weapons free denied? That is terrible for Zoun. All of a sudden, both his upgrades get denied, and Byun just flies away. Oh, that was a pirate attack.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, vision on this map is really important. Want to make sure you know where your opponent's army is. He did have the watchtower, but I don't believe he racked it quite in time. I mean, he could have, like you said, recalled a bit earlier, but just kind of walked home. I mean, this army is just not the most mobile unit, or mobile army. Now, the kind of the thing is, even though he lost his upgrades, he was starting to transition into air tech. So maybe, in the grand scheme of things, like if he starts going for air toss army, then maybe the ground upgrades aren't as important. But still, you want to make sure you bolster your ground force to help, protect your air fleet.
Byun is gonna try to get another little bit of damage over here on the 4th base of Zoun. He's gonna get 4 prods and fly away. Oh, Disruption Nova's going all over the place over here in the middle of the map. A lot of Disruptors were sniped. Oh my god, units lost. 7 Disruptors, 2 died before, so like... I think either 5 or 4 Disruptors just died in the middle of nowhere. That is not a good thing. 8 probes total, yeah, just... Byun is pulling Zoun apart right now. He's pulling in left and right, catching key units in the middle. And as you were saying, yes, he's going into Tempest. But he cannot simply just lose the whole ground army to do that. And just +1 air out of the cybernetic score is just not the best. Tempests are very upgrade-heavy units. Like, they need upgrades to work with. Otherwise, they're just sitting ducks. So, Zoun needs to buy a lot of time for himself.
Yeah, Tempest is quite flimsy. They're slow in terms of the attack, so... Yeah, you really need to, like, kind of bolster them with other things, and such as disruptors and stuff like that. Zoun gonna go ahead and take the fight, but...
Yeah, just trying to trade supply, I think.
Yeah.
It didn't really work in his favor though. I think he lost way more than he was anticipating. The concave from Byun was perfect. Now that the Tempests are into business, Byun needs to just move a little bit backwards and try to play the vision game mostly. Just try to sneak something past those Tempests and he's gonna be fine. And but you can see the Tempests actually hurt. They hurt like a truck. And they're gonna hurt even more with +1 and +2. I wonder, is he chrono boosting this? He's not chrono boosting the upgrade, which is weird. It was probably more focused on ground weapon +3 and ground armor +3. Yeah, he's finally getting all the key upgrades he needs. Observer speed for the disruptors. And of course, I always forgot how that upgrade is called for the Tempest. The one that makes them hurt structures very hard.
Yeah, it's a name I don't recall as well. We'll just call it the Tempest upgrade.
Yeah, but the Tempests are in a little bit of a pickle over here with the Vikings chasing them down. The only one remaining, it's gonna fall down. Single Colossus left standing, gonna go down as well. The only key unit remaining is gonna be slowed down by those Marauders and sniped down by the rest of the Marine army. Does feel like Byun is not really ready to move forward over here, especially with 4 Dark Templars absolutely annihilating his economy on the other side of the map. But yeah, these Nexus over here is gonna fall down. The 4 Photon Cannons are not gonna do enough to keep this dream alive for Zoun. The Zealots and the Dark Templars though, they definitely did more than I was envisioning. Far more. Look how many Dark Templars Zoun has. He's making 3 carriers and he has 12 DTs just lurking around. Just trying to find something more. Oh, the scan gets popped. Will these Dark Templars stride into safety? Yes, they will. Disruptor found out in the middle of nowhere again. 4 Archons ready to bring the battle to Ghost, and there's never gonna go in favor of the Archon just because EMP is absolutely broken. Oh, 2 Ghosts gonna be caught out in the open by the Disruptors. Still 2 Disruptors in the making. Zoun. Such a messy game on both sides. There's so many Ghosts out. Can the carriers close out the deal? The EMP is just destroying these Archons. They could do nothing about it. And it's just the carriers left standing and don't have a lot of interceptors to work with. One single carrier will survive against the Vikings. There's no anti-air. It's a little bit of a disaster. 20 probes falling down. The DTs striding to business. But the EMPs will destroy them too. Byun takes game number 2 of the series.
You know, as I look back at that previous game, you know, with Zoun going for that proxy second gate, right?
Yeah.
I would have actually liked to see him take his second Nexus at that gold base.
Yeah, I do absolutely agree with that. He was definitely in a position to do that. It was a risk, Anyway, like, not the biggest of risk, just a small risk. But yeah, like that would have put him a little bit more ahead. And with all the control he had on the map, like there was very little that Byun could do. As we've seen, like the first Medivac fly over the golden very later on in the game. So yeah, I do absolutely agree with that. That would have been a good call. A very risky one that's really tough to make, but still a very good one.
Yeah, unfortunately this map doesn't have the gold base, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I mean, Zoun, he's going to have to make up some grounds here, as he was pretty much ahead throughout that entire game, or at least the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And was not able to close it out. Kind of went for a an engagement, but kind of blundered it at the end. And you know what? It's kind of tough when you lose all those very valuable units. It's more difficult for a Protoss to replenish those units. You know, it takes more resources, takes more time to research them or to make them. So you know, gotta be careful not to lose those important units in those big fights.
Yeah, especially if your transition is not as clean as you wanted it to be. Like, Zoun moving into air was looking more like a final wish than anything else. Like, those Tempers just were not upgraded, and even carriers not upgraded. Like, air units, sky units for Protoss, they all badly need upgrades. Like, maybe the only unit that doesn't really need upgrades in the whole Stargate department is maybe Void Rays, but even them benefit from upgrades like so heavily. And starting it off with just +1 against a +3/+3 bio army, like that is gonna be tough. It's a very rough transition to make, and one in which you cannot afford to lose anything at all if you want to make it clean.
Yeah, and you know what? For me, I feel like Tempest is just generally not the best. I mean, I can understand why, because Byun was making Liberators, and I think the idea was, you make some Tempest to take down those Liberators, but I would have actually preferred Zoun to just go for the carrier right from the start, and use the carriers to snipe down those Liberators, because not only can the carriers be useful against them, but they can be useful against the other units on the ground.
Yeah. I do agree with that as well. I don't really see the uses of Tempest in that stage. Oh my god, this Widowmine... not gonna get much. Yeah, without drilling close, Widowmine just burrows so slowly, I sometimes forgot. Yeah, this Widowmine is going knocked down. Like, oh my... Oh, that was a very quick fit probe. Ready to take the L for the team. Ooh.
What a team player.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, oh my goodness. Okay. Another probe will sacrifice itself. Byun will decide against it. And here goes the shot. The Widowmine makes itself visible, meaning that it has to move out of the way. Blink is done, and there's a Warp Prism here, and yeah, like, Zoun is not a man who you have to ask twice about blinking in your opponent's main. It's just gonna get in, kill the tech lab, and get out. Zoun is such an entertaining player to watch. I can never get enough of him. He always goes for these maneuvers, like right now he's losing 6 probes back home, but he got a tech lab, man. Alright, 7 probes, that's rough, buddy. On the other side is not really finding a way past the bunker. And yeah, like the Warp Prism trying to fly around, find a way in. That's the pocket base you can just try to get up on. But how aggressive does Zoun want to play? He just lost so many probes back home.
Yeah, I mean, looks like Byun just has all his bases covered. I mean, the tanks are well spread out. Zoun just really finding a tough time to find some sort of opening here. And, you know, there's really nothing he can do besides just expand and just play the long game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it doesn't really feel like Byun can also like threaten him too much. Like, no, don't take me wrong. Like, I do feel like the army of Byun could absolutely destroy the army of Zoun in a head-on fight. But StarCraft 2 is not about head-on fight most of the times. At least in this matchup.
Alright, looks like both players are content with just macroing up for now, getting their upgrades, getting their production as well running. More barracks on the production.
Yeah. Like, Zoun was also trying to stop Byun and his trucks a little bit with the Blinkstalkers, just some standard Blinkstalker play. Byun is gonna go ahead and just send out one Medivaka in natural, but it's gonna be greeted by these 5 Stalkers ready to snipe it. I think Byun is just waiting for concussive shells before making any move on the map. He's gonna get his control over the third base, and this is the standard third base. It's not the pocket one. The pocket one, I do consider it like a 2.5 base, not a real third, because you have 4 less workers on minerals and 1 less Vespin Geyser. And Vespin Geysers tend to be more important than minerals the longer the game gets. So yeah, Zoun now wants to take a real third base, and it makes a lot of sense.
Alright, both of these players just kind of preparing or making sure their army is in the correct places. War Prism going into the main base right as this attack is going across the map, at least for Byun. But look at that, Byun already anticipating this. Nicely held there. Actually, nicely held by both players.
Yeah, Zoun with the force field, stopping so many units on their tracks and then sending the Zealots in to charge on top of the army of Byun, who's moving forward, the bleed forward. Yeah, like, again, we're looking at a little bit of a bloodbath. The 3 Immortals, of course, are gonna be so complicated to kill. But Zoun is playing on very low supply right now. And once the Immortals are all that's left, Byun can focus fire on top of them. And that's gonna be all for Zoun. Byun takes game number 3 of the series, and he's at match point.
And without further ado, as we head into the map of Tropical Sacrifice, this guy here at the top right, looking to tie up the series and push it to a game 5. Can he do it? It is Zoun.
His opponent in the bottom left instead. Currently at match point, he needs 1 out of 2, playing for a Shopify Rebellion. It's the Red Terran, Byun.
And not only is he spawning at the bottom left, but apparently at the top center.
Yeah, Terrans like to spawn a little bit everywhere.
They like to spawn, you know, everywhere, including under your bed.
Hopefully not. Like, it would be terrible to just wake up and find out I was being proxied, especially by Byun. That would be a bad wake-up call. How am I going to micro against Byun? Like, yeah, there's no way I get out of my bed alive.
Oh man, yeah, that would be pretty brutal way to go out. You just wake up and your eyes open and you just see Byun with a gun pointing at you.
Yeah, and maybe just a bunker being built under your bed as well. Yeah, that's terrible. I do love that this probe has actually gotten past everything that Byun has built and has perfect information about what is going on. It's just the average one Reaper proxy. It usually gets a couple probes before it gets completely annihilated. But yeah, like right now we see 2 probes going down. One in the base of Byun and one in the base of Zoun. But yeah, the Reaper gets out alive, ready to get some more scouting information, ready to maybe slow down Zoun even further. This was a build that was made popular in latest remake, if I remember correctly. And all of a sudden it's kind of the meta. And I do love this because this feels like 0 commitment for very decent damage.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of those maps where kind of impossible to wall off that cliff area.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
going for a
totally
Reaper,
possible.
Yeah, going for a proxy Reaper is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, you need 4 structures. You need the pylon, a cybernetic core, and 2 gateways to stop this. Like, this is bigger than no, I think it's exactly the same size as the RAM. Maybe it's slightly bigger actually, because you need the pylon in the wall as well. But yeah, you never go for that wall off. Like that would be stupid. Don't go do that. Like, you're never gonna do that in time anyway, and it's never gonna matter that much.
You gotta get like 2 Snorlax to block that off.
Yeah. And where are you going to find 2 Snorlax? Definitely not under your bed, because there's Byun under your bed. Remember about that.
Oh man.
And we're up to the usual We Don't Mind drop, but a better way to start some TVP action. Medivac will be flying out, scouted actually, seen by the 1 probe who's moving into the 3rd. The Stalkers will move into position, the probe's movement will be instantaneous. But the Medivac is flying into the main, ready to drop 2 more Widow Mines. Here they come again, flawless movement by Zoun, losing absolutely nothing to this.
Yeah, great start here for Zoun, as looks like he is preparing to throw down a 3rd Nexus, but gotta clear up that Reaper first.
Not gonna be a tough one, most likely. Well, the Reaper is gonna go out, killing another probe, bringing the total count to 4. But yeah, again, like, scouting information is all this Reaper is supposed to do, and killing 2 probes is actually pretty significant. Yeah, guys, I know We Don't Mind drop makes you lose mining time, but yeah, there's no way around it. Like, you either lose mining time or you lose 10 probes. Like, losing mining time, it does feel like the silver lining out there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it quite annoying for Protoss to deal with. Is that
absolutely.
You're forcing the Protoss to have to babysit the minimap, and at the same time, even if you clean up or defend the water mines, you know you gotta pull off probes off of mining, and that does affect your economy.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to do if you're a determined player. Like, We Don't Mind drops are always good. And also, let's not forget, like, We Don't Mind drops get you a huge amount of scouting information. They make you basically play with perfect information. Because having We Don't Minds and Medivacs fly around in your opponent's base just makes you see everything he's doing. So you're gonna know exactly what is up and deal damage while you're at it. It's just a good way to open up.
Yeah, Venser making a great point in the live chat as well. It also forces the Protoss to keep the Stalker back at home instead of across the map and harassing.
Well, not all of them, just enough, like 4 to 5. The other are on the map and they're ready to snap some key units before they move out.
Yeah, I mean, like you don't, as a Terran, you don't need to worry about like a huge Stalker counter push in. and like a big ball of stalkers blinking into your main base. But yeah, you usually just need a couple of stalkers to defend the 2 or so mineral bases, and then you can have a couple of stalkers out in the front of the Terran base to harass, or if their main base is open, you can kind of blink up and maybe snipe some tech add-ons or maybe some SCVs.
Oh, this Raptor hiding in the bushes, and is not gonna get much steam forward. These concussive shells done. Concussive shells is not done. These marauders will not be good enough to stop these things on their tracks. 3 probes are gonna fall down to the Widowmine drop. Not too shabby, not too great, just decent. The observer is gonna keep track of the movements of Byun. The tanks will siege up a little bit of a later time, but the Widowmine shots were pretty much perfect. Byun might be steaming up to victory yet again. The Disruptors trying to go around and get some awkward kind of flank. Byun will decide against fighting again after losing the Widowmines, since he saw all of the units out of Zoun being warped in and the rest of the reinforcements chiming in as well. But yeah, that was a very good fight from Byun.
Yeah, now he's gonna take the overall supply lead here. Gonna actually take the worker lead as well, which is not the greatest thing. Saving grace for Zoun is that third CC is not in orbital, so
yeah,
the mule advantage isn't as huge for him. But still, not the best scenario. Don't want to be in this position as the Protoss, but hey, maybe some disruptor hits.
Ooh, that was not too bad, especially with the Stalkers nabbing now 1 medivac. Very good moves by Zoun, hiding in darkness to snipe out as much as he could. And he's now moving forward. The 3 Disruptors are in a little bit of an awkward spot. They're gonna get the snipe on top of the Widowmines. Here, moving forward, are the SCVs trying to get on top of the... Oh, yeah, that is juicy Nova out of Zoun's Disruptors. Moving forward yet again, getting another Widowmine, forcing the lift out of the command center. The Purification Orbs are not eating the jackpot on top of the army of Byun, but they're keeping him so back, and the rest of the SCVs are falling down one after the other. One of these Disruptors is gonna fall down, as well as the rest of the Stalkers, while the Zealots go around and make life hell for the remaining Marauders. 21 SCVs falling down, bringing the total to 47, which is not a lot at this stage of the game. Shockwave EMP upgrade is incoming from Byun, and he does feel like he needs to buy himself some time, because Zoun is on an aggressive mindset right now.
Yeah, the problem for Zoun is that he doesn't have a reinforcement point, so looks like he will fall back for the time being. I mean, he did do enough damage to climb himself back into this game. I mean, Zoun hitting a perfect timing attack where he was ahead behind in the workers, but he was ahead in the army, so was able to punish Byun for that. And now he's going to go ahead and march on forward. Still, there's going to be disruptors in the backside, but with Byun's micro, I'm sure he's going to be able to kite away from that. But SCV is potentially getting pulled here.
Yeah, it's basically a necessity for Byun having something to bulk up against the Zealots. The Purification Orb is gonna eat on top of many Marauders at once. The Medivacs are not keeping up. We're going to game 5, gentlemen.
Nothing better than to have a best of 5 on this wonderful Saturday afternoon or morning, wherever you are, or I guess evening at your side.
Yeah,
but
it's afternoon.
Yeah, still afternoon. Yeah.
Well, nothing better than having hit data as the map number 5. I just absolutely love this map. This has to be one of my favorite maps of the pool.
Yeah, seems to be a favorite of both players and viewers.
Very well-shaped map. It has some of the best features out of many maps we've had in the past. Reminds me a little bit of 2000 Atmospheres. I know everyone was tired about 2000 Atmospheres. I wasn't. I love 2000 Atmospheres. I wish we still had 2000 Atmospheres, but we don't. So Data C is the closest thing we have to that.
Don't worry, one day maybe there's going to be a 3000 Atmospheres.
Oh yeah, I'm so ready for that.
Yeah, but one of the nice features about this map is that there is 2 watchtowers, so it makes it, quite important to take them, get that map vision.
And these watchtowers are such huge points of contention as well, because they gave vision on 4 different bases almost, like 3.5. Like, this location is so important to keep track of, because you can see so many different attacks that can be stopped on the tracks if you have control of the watchtower. So I do love to see some features like these added into these maps. And yeah, this is one of the best iteration of a watchtower I think we've ever seen in any map book. Oh, this attack is going down, by the way. That is not a good scout from this guy.
Yeah, poor Aaron the Adept. Alright, looks like Zoun once again going for that blink. It seems like that's his just go-to against Terran. Do you think, like, as we get into, potentially if he, Zoun does win this and goes into the final, you think maybe he might want to add in like a Stargate opening play in one of those games against Astrea?
That is definitely a possibility. We've seen also a little bit of a new meta rising up in PvP due to the players still adapting to how much the matchup has changed in this last year and a half, because the matchup changed drastically. So that is definitely a possibility, and we've seen plenty of Stargate versus Stargate games in this year so far. It's a very peculiar style, a little bit old school, but yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising. I still think most of the times we're gonna see mainly Blinkstalkers and Immortals, but yeah, I would love to see some Phoenix play being thrown in the mix. Especially if it's target against target, but most of the times it isn't. Most of the times Phoenix are just used to stop Immortals. Oh, the aliens though. Oh no, that is a very well-placed line of roads. 5 of them are gonna fall. Yes, all of the aliens and the Medivac will fall down, but again, just like the Widowmine drop, this is scouting information, very low expense, and also some damage on the side.
Yeah, and also, lost mining time from the probes. Gotta pull them.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at the income graph. Yep, huge red spike there for Byun. So great start. However, it looks like Zoun gonna go ahead and try to go for some counter damage himself. But unfortunately for him, Zoun's gonna have to deal with his Raven. Oh, actually, you know what? With that watchtower, I think Zoun was able to prepare in time. So again, that watchtower is so important.
Yeah, losing Raven is just not great. Ravens are not even replaceable in the sense they're pricey or anything, even though they are kind of pricey. It's just the lost time in switching the add-ons and losing time in which your tech lead might have used for something else. That Raven is never gonna be replaced, most likely. And that is a big bummer for Byun, especially leading into RoboBay play for Zoun. Byun didn't really want to lose that Raven, so yeah, he went for an aggressive play and he didn't really get the best of it. He took a chance, didn't work his way.
Yeah, quite unfortunate here for Byun. I mean, if he does decide to switch the add-ons, he's gonna have to delay his medevac production, and that's not something he wants, especially with all these injured Marines. So
Yeah, there's so many bad things you get from switching out. Like you delay either steam or combat shield. You delay your key units production, such as Marauders. You delay medevac production. Yeah, like you delay everything. You never want to switch. Like never. That Raven is absolutely irreplaceable. And apparently, as someone is suggesting in the chat, Zoun posed and then asked Byun, "Wait, you don't have shields yet?" Which is kind of funny.
I mean...
Oh, and he had a mosquito issue.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's so annoying when you have a mosquito issue in the middle playing.
Yeah. Like, have you ever, like, you were playing and you had to, like, your nose was itching? Yeah, that is the worst thing ever. Even worse than mosquitoes. Yeah, like, I will post the game for that. Ghost Academy halfway through. These stalkers are gonna always keep track of the movement of Byun, trying to snag something left and right. And these two Medivacs and the Warp Prism are gonna meet in the middle of nowhere, causing this little bit of a Spider-Man meme.
Like, hello.
Hey. I think you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Pointing out at each other and then going their own way.
Man, that was like one of the highlights of the Into the Spider-Verse movie at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, Shockwave EMP upgrade on the way, 3 ghosts as well. This is gonna be the power spike that Byun is looking for to take some more control over this game. The Stalkers still exerting a very high amount of map control, forcing Byun to fight for every yard of ground. Xenopher lands halfway through as well. Remember, we have no Raven out, so these Colossi are gonna be very tough to kill, especially without Vikings. Plus 2 ground weapons, plus 1 ground armor incoming for Zoun, but the Enhanced Shockwaves has just been completed. And I can't wait to see these ghosts being in the hands of Byun, bring up some action in the main fights.
Yeah, we have seen already how dangerous Byun is with those ghosts. And once more trying to replicate it.
Oh yeah, the Concussive Shells Marauders catching one Disruptor in the middle of nowhere. Zoun needs to be extra careful around those. Again, the Protoss army not the most mobile in the bunch. And losing Disruptors is not exactly what the Protoss wants, especially working with one single Robo. I think he should add one, by the way. I think he should be working with 2 Robos. But yeah, disregard that.
Yeah, always nice to have 2 Robos. You can make 2 Disruptors at a time. Cuts down the production time on those army units such as Colossus. And if you need a Warp Prism or Observer, you can do so at the same time as well. But hold that thought, as there is another force here of Byun marching his way into the pocket base. We'll take out the Nexus, and Zoun and both Zoun and Byun having like 2 different army groups here as they try to fight off one another.
Yeah.
Oh, will he drop into the main? Oh, a little bit of a risky play. It looks like Byun will have to sacrifice this army and leave it behind. Nice cleanup from Zoun. And we'll go ahead and try to take that top left base there. But gotta be careful at this drop, making sure that he keeps his stalkers. Actually he just pulled his stalkers away. So that main base is going to be vulnerable for the time being.
Yeah, he's trying to look for the Medivac flying away with the Stalkers, but they did everything but find out where the Medivacs were. And yeah, these Medivacs are just gonna go uncontested for no real merit or reason at all. Like, the Stalkers just sleeping on their job. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Zoun is gonna charge forward. He doesn't want to charge in choke points. No, he knows how deadly the Widowmines can be. And yeah, you've seen that happen again. Shockwave EMP plus Widowmines heard like a truck. The move forward from Zoun with extended thermal lines making short work of the MMM in the middle of nowhere. In these tiny choke points next to the third, I should say. But all in all, the Ghost Academy falling down is probably the biggest blow that Byun has ever taken in this series. Shockwave EMP going again on top of Zealots and Stalkers alike, but the Zealots are just annihilating the economy of Byun. 26 workers falling down. These Colossi are still standing in the skies. The Vikings finally pop out to put an end to this push. Zoun lost all of his army, but Byun lost so much economy. Who took the short end of the stick? I have absolutely no idea. Both players losing so much. But Byun has an army and he's moving out most likely.
Yeah, just a beautiful surround there by Byun. After taking out that Nexus, he retreated a couple of his army there and was able to take out the War Prism as well as the rest of those Colossus at the backside. And with the reinforcements of Byun as well, was able to finally clean it up. And ooh, nice snipe on that Disruptor, canceling out that orange ball of fury and gonna force Zoun to tap on out Byun. He is gonna be our second finalist.